This is going to be a Festivus for the rest of us because I got a lot of problem with these people, and you're going to hear about it.
You know, first let's do an overview of what the movie even was.
Sure. Crap. A big heaping pile of dung. Isn't the theme music?
Welcome to
it's AV Combos Reacts. That's right. That's right. This is sort of in the vein of Siskel and Ebert Go to the Movies, if you recall that. We sit down, we watch some things, and then we go ahead and discuss the likes and dislikes, the pros and the cons, the ups and the downs, and the 6 sevens. The 6 sevens.
Oh my gosh.
6 7.
It won't always be movies. Sometimes we'll be reacting to body cams or different things. But for right now, we just saw this movie, so let's start with this movie.
Ella McCay.
Ella McCay. Okay, so went to check this out because it's just lighthearted day. Thought we'd just go see whatever was playing and, you know, random movie. And why don't you give us a little overview of what this movie was about?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you will recall the movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley and David Spade, and there was a scene in that movie where they say, you know what? If you want me to give you a guarantee, I can take a dump in a box and I can mark a guarantee, and what I gave you was a guaranteed piece of shit. That is what Ella McCay was all about.
A quick overview of Ella McCay. The movie begins with a narrator. Now, she's her assistant in government, but she's also the voice of Marge Simpson, which is a little distracting. Ella McCay has a great heart and she wants to make changes, but her past will not leave her alone. Her family is a mess. Her mother has died. Her father is just a piece of work. I'm not quite sure even how to describe him other than gross. Narcissistic for sure. And she really cannot get rid of him. He's kind of like a fly at a barbecue. Ella does not want a relationship with her father, but he insists on trying to rectify the relationship to please a woman he is dating who feels like it's important for him to do this. Because her mother died, Jamie Lee Curtis has been that to her, and she's married to another narcissistic prick who is trying to use her for his own right to fame and glory and popularity at any cost, even her detriment. She also has a brother who she is trying to reconcile with at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was the basic premise of what Ella McCay was all about. And what were your thoughts on the film? Because I know you said you wanted to go to the movies and see something kind of light.
Okay, well, it wasn't exactly light unless you didn't have any kind of family dysfunction or trauma in your family. It dealt with family trauma and how bad behavior affects other people of your family. And really it had to do with mental illness. It didn't say that it had to do with mental illness, but it was clear that it had to do with mental illness. Her father seemed like a narcissist. Her mom was completely codependent on him and ultimately was willing to have her daughter, leave her daughter behind, even though she was under 18, to live with her aunt. And Jamie Lee Curtis did an amazing job, as she always does. Woody Harrelson playing the father also did a really good job of being gross. He really did. You really didn't like him.
That's a great way to put it.
And then ultimately, she ends up being in government, and she marries somebody because of the way that he sees value in her. And because she felt like he saw her and he saw value in her, regardless of whether or not he was gross, like her, like he was also kind of sleazy, right? The guy who she chose to be with. But literally, from what I recall, she was with him based on the fact that he seemed like he was really liked her, and she was so excited that someone liked her that she was just going to be with him regardless of how she felt about him or what he had going for him or who he was, right? And so her life is really quite sad. She's trying to make a difference. She's trying to change the world. She's trying to do things, but her trauma, her family, her brother is now, I would say he has agoraphobia, but I would also say he might be quite a little autistic on the spectrum or something. She's trying to figure out how to navigate that relationship with him. She's trying to figure out how to help him get back into the world because he doesn't leave his house. She's trying to, her father's trying to come back into the situation. I believe her mother's passed now. And, you know, what I saw overall was a very realistic movie about the fact that some people, we have no idea what kind of trauma they're trying to navigate. She definitely needed some counseling, that, like, so that she could overcome and get out and make healthy boundaries and not be in this trauma. Just because someone's your family, I don't believe that means you have to stay in their trauma or let them still be in your life and steal your peace in that way. And I felt like everything she was trying to do was being hindered by, you know, her husband, her dad, her past. And so it was kind of heavy. It wasn't lighthearted. It wasn't a comedy. But I think that is a good insight for people who may not have family trauma and drama in that way. I thought it was a good movie. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but I know that you did not see it that way.
No, this was a bad movie. This this movie should have came with a trigger warning right out of the gate. If you are dealing with any kind of family dysfunction, PTSD, or just all around real life family drama, this ain't for you. Yeah, this is not at all what I had expected. I don't know what I expected. I saw a couple of trailers for it and it looked kind of interesting. They framed it in a very interesting way. The trailer, it was way more interesting than the movie actually was. These were a whole bunch of, generally speaking, for me, unlikable characters. Characters that I just could not wrap my brain around. And the thing that I had the biggest issue with, because like you had said, this is not a comedy, but having seen many a comedy, especially rom-coms, this started in that vein with the narrator. I'm gonna be your narrator.
That's true.
And so immediately I'm thinking, okay, this is gonna be kind of a very lighthearted, like a rom-com thing. It's giving that feel. It's giving those vibes, and it was anything but. So it just didn't make any sense. The thing that I have an issue with when it comes to movies is that it doesn't really know what direction it's trying to go. It doesn't know what lane it wants to be in. Sort of like, I'm just going to mention this. This has nothing to do with this type of genre, but Vampire in Brooklyn. And I say that because we just watched the Eddie Murphy documentary on Netflix, which was actually, we both agreed it was actually a really good documentary. Mm-hmm. But the film Vampire in Brooklyn, when it was first released, was not a commercial success. When you watch the film, the thing that was odd about that is that we've all come to know Eddie Murphy as a comedian. Most comedians have a darker side to them, and they want to branch out and do dramatic roles and do other things. I'm not just a comedian. I'm not just a stand-up guy. I'm not here to make you funny. I'm funny to you? How am I funny to you? You know what I mean? Little Joe Pesci. So, but it didn't do well, right? And I've watched the film quite a few times. The issue that I have with that film is it doesn't know what it wants to be, because there are comedic elements in that film. But then you also see Eddie Murphy kind of at the end of the movie, and he's just in this makeup, and he looks kind of crazy and evil, and it just, it didn't jive with the overall tone of the film, because then you also had him doing his character, talking about if every day's a sunny day, then what's a sunny day? Doing that thing. So I'm like, are you funny? Are you trying to be like, what are you trying to do here? You got to pick a lane. Couldn't quite figure out what it was trying to be. And that's what I had an issue with this film. Is that right out of the gate, I'm thinking one thing, and then as the film is going on, it's doing something else. And it just, I was sitting here trying to figure out what it was that I was watching, and I even at the end, I didn't quite get it. So that was my issue right out of the gate. It set me up for something that it actually ended up not being. Then you have the actual characters like Woody Harrelson's character, who just was not a good guy. He was not a likable character. My biggest pet peeve, and this is something maybe some of you could relate to, maybe not. I like television. I like movies. It's an escapism for me, right? I want to escape from the rigors of real life. Generally speaking, I don't like to go see a film where I'm paying top dollar and I'm being drawn back in to real life. I don't really want to see real life situations like this. This is a political film, and you're also seeing an interesting side of politics, kind of an ugly side, like Albert Brooks's character. He wasn't a nice guy. Like this was a film about a lot of people who just weren't nice, likable people. And I'm sure that's just how it is maybe in politics or whatever. I don't care. All I know is when I go to see a film for 90 minutes, I want to be taken out of reality for 90 minutes. I don't want 90 minutes of something that I'm basically watching on the news. And that's what this was. So I didn't know what I was watching. Then I'm thinking it's going to be something that it wasn't. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this thing over? And I am not one to leave a theater. Once I am in and I pay the money, I'll watch it to the end. I've not actively left a movie since 1988's Beetlejuice. Okay?
You walked out on Beetlejuice?
I had to go to the restroom. I could have held it.
I walked out on Hellraiser because I was scared.
But I couldn't. And I sat through Dances with Wolves, not knowing this was like a 3-hour epic movie. And my eyeballs were popping out of my head because I'm all like, when is it over?
Actually, there was one time where he walked out, and I know you remember this movie. You had to walk out and go splash water in your face. Passion of the Christ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had to literally go splash
Yeah,
water
no,
in your
that
face.
actually is true.
That
Because that
crucifixion
was
brutal.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about it. I exercised that from my mind. Yeah, that was a bit much. But this film, I had to go to the restroom. Again, I probably could have held it. I didn't want to.
You didn't even care.
And I really debated going back in there. I was like, I don't want to sit through this anymore. I generally was sitting here going, I don't want to watch this anymore.
So to be fair, not everybody has that situation, so they may feel like it's an escape from reality because that's not their family, that's not their situation. But also, in order to get into a movie like this, you need to be able to really get in touch with your empathetic side. You're not big on empathy. That's not a strong suit for you.
That's a debate for another time. I will simply say this. The movie it was kind of all over the place. You had what you had as far as the family dynamic in the beginning of the film. The mom passes, things kind of fracture a little bit, and the brother, he ends up, like you said, being some type of shut-in. He claims he wasn't an agoraphobe. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but he was just very kind of all over the place with how he was. Whatever's going on with him mentally, he has this girlfriend over here that was also, everybody had a tick. I don't know how else to say it. Everybody had some kind of thing, and it was too much. It was just too much for me. I cannot watch a film where everybody has a thing, and everybody's thing clashes with somebody else's thing, and it's just a big. It's like a waiter or a waitress with a whole gaggle of dishes that just all of a sudden crashes down to the ground. One affects the other, affects the other, affects the other, and they all just sort of crashing around. And this was what it was like me watching this film.
Wow. So you have two very different points of view on the film. I mean, I didn't think it was like Academy Award or anything, but it was fine. It was whatever. I wasn't like regretting seeing it or wanting my money back. Yeah, they had some really unlikable characters, but that was part of the movie. Some people have really unlikable characters in their life.
But the actors did well.
They
played
well.
their roles well, so much so
that you didn't like them. Okay, so there you go.
This was like, I said this briefly. There was a film that she probably would have walked out on, and that was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh,
she will never watch that movie again. And
it didn't exist. That didn't happen.
I was sitting here going, this is my Guardians of the Galaxy's Volume 3.
Oh, my.
I will never watch this film again.
All right. So there you go. I thought it was okay. He will never watch a film again and feels a little traumatized by it. So there you go. That's our 2 cents. So see the movie. Let us know what you thought.
Do not see the movie. If you have, ask for your money back. Sue each and every one of these individuals, the writers, the directors, the producers, every creative person involved with Ella McCay ought to be ashamed of themselves. And I want my money back.
Jamie Lee Curtis or Woody Harrelson, if you watch this movie, I do not share his sentiment.
Jamie Lee Curtis. We'll get into that later.
See you next time.